Let me begin with Nick. From your experience of all these 20 years of ESA BICs, what is the thing that defines the success of an ESA BIC? Is it the number of startups, investment made on them, the number of people that are working on them? What is the most important thing?
Yes. No, it's more than it's all of these things, because it's the success of a BIC is the success of the companies. The BIC is a mechanism to help companies on those early stages of their journey. Let me try to give some structure to it. So the first thing is you have to have some capability, some technology. So helping the companies to develop the technical capability to do something which is unique and is differentiated and gives them a place in the world. And we've been hearing all day today about the excellence of the technology which is here. But that's only stage one. So because just with the technology, you don't yet have a company. So to build a company, you need to find a way to package that technology into a product and deliver it to a customer who cares about it and is willing to pay you for it. And then you need to be able to work out how to do that profitably without losing money. So these are the kind of additional layers which you have to start adding in order to turn technical expertise, scientific expertise, into something which has commercial potential. And so that's, if we're not reaching that stage, we're not building businesses. And then the question is, well, what is the company then going to do? Is it building something that anybody cares about, which makes any difference to the world? So then there's a layer of measures. Well, we just had an announcement of a new national space policy for Greece. Well, does what your company does contribute to that? Does it fit into that story? Or does it fit into the other ambitions which the country has for job creation or for exports or for skills development or for scientific advancement? But what are you contributing to the society of your country? Because this is public money which is coming into this. So what is the citizens getting for this? What is the government getting for this? What is the justification for government funding this activity and not just allowing the companies to do it on their own? So that, again, we need to measure on the basis that there should be that contribution to society. And then, I mean, for me, then the last layer then is, if you go kind of 10 years into the future and you look back and you say, what did you build there? You're going to be telling stories.
Okay.
So if you can build something which tells stories, that's the top.
One more question for you. We talked today only about ESA BIC Greece, the ESA BIC program, but the commercialization department in ESA has also many other programs.
Yeah.
Can you briefly explain a bit what are the other programs, and with regard to the maturity of Greece
Yes,
that you have seen here, what could be another program that you believe we should be part of it?
Yeah, so, okay, thank you. Yes, thanks for the question. So to build on, so you're doing great things already in the incubation, getting the companies started, getting them on the road. But if we want the commercial success and the scaling, there are other tools in the ESA toolkit and additional ways that we could potentially be investing to try to accelerate that further. And it's about linking to other parts of the economic system. So we have a network of fee labs, which are about linking the industry to the academic base in the universities. We have a network of technology brokers, which are about linking the space and the non-space communities so that they can share their expertise and move technologies from one to the other, either spinning into the space sector or spinning out from the space sector into other industries to find other economic opportunities. We can bring more private investment in. The private investment will follow the customers. If they see there's a good possibility for a company making money, then the company can raise venture capital. And if you get really close so that you can look the customers in the eye, then eventually the banks will lend to you as well. Right? So we can start to bring in some of that capital investment. But the one that really makes the difference then is the customer. It all revolves around how you find the customer and build the relationships with the customer. So for that, we have the BAS program, which is all about that. It's about how do you develop a product in front of your customer and get it to that point of the first sale. So it would be great if we could now take some of these startups on that journey, bring in some of those other investment tools, and help them in their growth journeys. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Nick. Salvator Levi from Festos. You are one of the persons that invented venture capital in Greece many years ago, and now in Festos, you have invested in 2 space companies, significant investments that attracted the companies also to come to Greece. So from this experience of the investment, what do you think, please tell us also a little bit about the investment, but tell us, what do you think an incubator like this should do for those companies to be of interest to you?
Sure, I will tell you. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me in this panel. Look, when we set up 5G Ventures and to manage the Festos Fund, one of the first things we did was to create a set of relationships. We did with Corallia. We also did with ESA. I have to say, from the investor point of view, ESA, I'm a big believer in European integration. And ESA is one of the very few organizations, unfortunately, there are very few, that is integrated in Europe. I'm investing also in telecoms. It's a nightmare to deal with 27 regulators in telecoms. With ESA, you have one pan-European organization that you deal with space. It's a major thank you from the investment community. Now, as I said, we did that, as we say, even before we closed the fund, we set up the relationship with ESA. And what we were hoping to find with ESA, and we found to a large extent, was technology de-risking. Things that go through ESA probably have a technology validation, and the networking also, which was very important. Now, as a BIC, for us, we are a later stage investor. You mentioned we have done 2 investments in space. Both of them were outside Greece, but we managed to bring them to Greece. One was the Orbit, which is an in-orbit, they're creating an in-orbit vehicle. It's an Italian company. They acquired Planetech, and they now have a presence in Greece. The other is OQ, OQ Technology from Luxembourg. Again, they built OQLS here, and they were part of the program. So basically, this is the way we operate, and we think it's a good way to enhance the Greek ecosystem. You are creating Greek companies by transferring the know-how from outside. What we hope, what we are finding through ESA BIC is we find companies in Greece that we can work together for our companies that are coming to Greece and so forth. So that's a big value. And to conclude, not to take too long, what we would expect from any incubator, and it's good that you are doing it, is to prepare the companies for the scale-up phase also. Because we do later stage investment, we expect to find definitely we're taking technology risk. That's part of our business. That's why we get rewarded, because we're taking risks. So we expect, but it is good to have the companies have a proper structure, understanding the market, have a plausible business plan. So all of that is things that ESA BIC is helping us.
Thank you, Salvator. Nikos, with your hat at Corallia Ventures, seed investor, pre-seed investor, and investing in deep tech. Tell us a little bit about the fund and your first investment in a pre-seed space company. What are the experience and what is the expectation?
Thank you, Jorge, and everyone here. Congratulations. Before I just get to saying a few points about the fund and our first investment, let me say that I watched Nick's presentation and yours. And from an investor viewpoint, I have to say that these two must be two of the most impressive presentations an investor could hope to see, because they exhibited at European and at Greek level an ecosystem, a deal flow consistency, a structure mechanism that creates opportunities for investors. So it's extremely welcoming and very positive for an investor, and I think Salvator and everyone else would agree, to see that kind of support mechanism. It just makes our life so much easier. Now, what is our life? As Jorge said, I'm one of the partners in Corallia Ventures, which is a deep tech, early stage, focusing on technology transfer venture capital fund. I would say that it tackles probably the most difficult segment in the value chain of investments. So it's the very pre-market, pre-revenue, high-risk segment of VC. But on the other hand, it gives back, hopefully, very high rewards and very high return of investment. So it's this very, very first initial investment that, if goes successful, it can yield significant multiples, 10 and 100, and hopefully even higher than that. Now, this is the fund. We already have announced 6 investments, and we have in the pipeline 5 more for the remaining of the year. And I'm very happy to say that one of these 6 investments is actually in this panel. And we recently announced the investment to SolidKosmos, in SolidKosmos. And the investment experience from this, and I'm saying this in a very transparent manner, and please, I sincerely ask to be excused from any academic or professor in the audience, that technology transfer spin-offs from university have very often some early symptoms of immaturity in terms of commercial acumen and perception. This is something that in that case we didn't see coming, and I think to a very large extent it is owed to ESA BIC Greece. So the incubation period that SolidKosmos went through raised the investment readiness level of this company significantly compared to other technology transfer spin-offs that we have seen. This alone, from an investor viewpoint, is a reason. That is the reason for existence, is a very important reason for ESA BIC Greece to be operative in Greece.
Thank you, Nikos. Paolo, you are a deep tech company, microelectronics, telecommunication, completely new designs. One of the biggest outcomes of the program so far, he's looking for a significant investment to grow. Please tell us a little bit about the company, where you are today, what are you looking for, where are the difficulties, and if you can share with us what ESA BIC actually helped you in your journey.
It's a lot of questions, so I will start with the last one. So we didn't join ESA BIC because of the funding received. It's one of the points that was made before. We initially joined for the branding, expecting to get a return out of it and to capitalize on presence in ESA BIC. We discovered a lot more. And following up on your intervention and yours earlier, there was a set path, things to do systematically to follow, of course, executing on the MVP plan and trying to get value out of the company and to be presentable for investor and structured. But that was the very first change in the company. We joined, as you said, we were already matured as a design service house. Maybe we were a little bit cocky as well when you joined. And but we quickly realized that it's not the technology that makes a good product, it's the need of the technology in the market that define the product. So we flipped our vision almost completely during the path, and we ended up we started from a chip which was a small implementation, and we ended up with launching a technology called Kitrion for the marketing, that is a platform for a lot more. And that's what we're trying to sell today. We're raising capital. We are trying to close the first deals with the technology integrators. We have, worked on many dimensions at the same time. It all started with the ESA BIC, with the EPIC program. We won with the ESA Commercialization Award to represent European startups in Singapore. That was an opportunity to do even more contacts. So it opened a new world and a new way of interacting, of networking, that probably just by staying in Greece, despite the great partners of the VDT and all the people that are today, we wouldn't have met. So it was a great journey, and we are really thankful for this to have happened to us, and ad maiora.
Thank you very much, Paolo. And let's go to Mr. Agiakatsikas. He could have been working anywhere in the world. He was actually in Australia, in Belgium, but he decided to come back to Greece. And together with one of the most significant professors around FPGA in the University of Piraeus, they established a spin-off of the university in a very difficult area, but very promising, SolidKosmos. So also from you, tell us a little bit about the company and what was the major benefit for you from the program so far?
Thanks for inviting me. So yes, we are the first spin-off from the University of Piraeus. I came back from actually Belgium. I was working then in a company, Space Application Services it was called. We were working on ESA projects and came here to work as a postdoc researcher at a lab that was one of the few here in Greece that was working on fault tolerance and analysis about radiation effects, which is a very big problem for space. So I saw the ESA BIC Greece program. I said, why don't we apply also? I think we have a good team, technical team. What is missing is the business mind. So what we gained from ESA BIC Greece, actually to transform our mindset from a researcher to a researcher with entrepreneurship skills. This is very important. It was not only to increase the TRL, it was to increase our commercial readiness level, our financial readiness level to find fund, to make a business plan, to make a go-to-market plan. All of this actually was something difficult, which actually brought us some fund and helped us make a product that people will trust and buy from us. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We go back to Nick. Nick, many startups in space, as you better know than anyone of us, need access to customers. They need to raise the TRL level. They need to be on orbit. What do you think the Greek administration, with the new product, the program, as well as ESA do to facilitate access to the younger companies, but also to the more mature companies to access those customers, validation, higher TRL levels?
ESA knows a lot of the customers. The customers in the space supply chains, obviously we know because they're the space companies who are engaged with our programs. And then we make a lot of effort to meet the customers who are outside the space industry as well. Where I talk about my tours of the maritime and the energy sectors and all that. So we hope that we can help companies who have that aspiration to make those connections and then to cement that customer-supplier relationship in place with projects. Greece has invested in a good list of ESA programs which are relevant for this. So ARTES for the SATCOM supply chains, 5G, 6G, IoT. There's several companies in the portfolio for that. The GSTP program for component technologies, such as the General Technology Program, Future EO program, the Space Safety Program. So looking at the companies who are being incubated here, there are those technically expert programs are able to make the connections to take companies onto the next stage and introduce them into the supply chain. And then, as I mentioned previously, for those who are looking for customers outside in the downstream, particularly, then there's the BAS program, and we have some budgeting in Greece for BAS. It would be lovely to have more, but we have some for this period that we can make a start and maybe support some of these companies. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. A question for our investors. You have seen that the companies here are maturing. ESA BIC has a good production. We have not reached the level of maturity, of course, in the UK, Germany, France, but we are progressing well. Now, on the other side, the venture capitals, in order to invest to a company, they look into it, they do the due diligence, they look into scalability, IP protection, etc. What are the 2-3 criteria or aspects that you see significant to progress further with the program in the next period?
Yes, I will tell you. Look, first of all, the program is very good because it is also it's a networking facility. You are also creating companies that can cooperate together. The other thing is, I think it's also a good place to identify opportunities. I'll give you an example. I mean, what I am realizing now that we have invested in space and low Earth orbit, we're using a few minutes every 90 minutes. What happens to the rest? How can we make it a networking not only with other companies, but also with our companies in other countries, other jurisdictions? We have to, and this also goes with what I believe we should also look into Europe, which is sovereignty. We should look at European sovereignty. We have satellites that orbit the globe every 90 minutes. They're passing for 5 minutes above Greece, another 5 minutes above Bulgaria, another 5 minutes above Spain. And so I was, as a matter of fact, last month we did the test with, along with Cosmote, with sending direct messaging from the satellite to a normal phone for emergency broadcasting. And since I went there to witness it, I realized that we had to do a test every a few hours because we had to track the satellites when they were back. So why are we using this asset only a few times? I mean, others could use it. Somebody has to coordinate that. ESA BIC could do that. So that's one idea. So definitely there are a lot of things we haven't thought about and we can think about. And ESA BIC, since you have the ecosystem and you have the networking, and ESA also has all the networking, so I think this is something that we should look into it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. Nikos, so again also for you, what are the criteria for any space startup to become VC bankable, investable?
Okay. Before I give at least the two more important criteria in my perspective, let me just say that the higher level criterion for an investor is quantity at an ecosystem point of view. So before we get down to going to incubate level or investee level, we have to go through a funneling process. So we need numbers. We really need a deal flow. And to this extent, the contribution of ESA BIC so far alone has created this ecosystem with the 32 and many more to come. So we really need to go through the statistics and the natural selection process of having a population of potential investees. At individual level, two are the most important criteria for at least our perspective that we're an early stage, again, deep tech fund. One is technology defensibility. Defensibility is a very difficult sport. Even with the best and most brilliant minds and researchers and technologies that we have in the country, in Europe, keeping that at the defensible level can be expensive, can be time-consuming, can be long-term commitment. So this is something that support structures like ESA BIC or others can definitely help, either in financial terms, but most importantly in mentality terms. So what are the priorities for an early stage startup to safeguard, keep well protected its competitive advantage? If this goes away, it's very likely that an investor won't proceed further. And for us, it's red flag number one or green flag number one. The second, and this is now a real challenge for the space ecosystem, is the market itself in terms of size. Investors, and we have an added layer of difficulty in this selection. The startups don't just have to be commercial grade. They have to be investor grade, which means that the market has to be such a big size so that the potential returns are 10 or 100 times more. Currently, it's highly likely that space itself as a market may not be enough, which is why we give priority to dual use, to downstream, so applications, so areas where the natural market selection and penetration is automatically larger than the very niche, very vertical space market itself. So this is a criterion for us, unfortunately. I'm saying this unfortunately because at the end of the day, technology itself, from an investor viewpoint, is not sufficient. We have to see the returns. So the market size does matter.
Yes. Thank you very much, Nikos, for that. Paolo, Dimitris, can you tell us what is the biggest challenge of a founder trying to build a space startup?
It's not just space. I mean, it's to keep the company running. And so for us, it's raising capital. Raising capital in deep tech, hardware, semiconductor, high frequency, compound semiconductor and silicon. It's crazy. So it's difficult to get to a level which is sexy to an investor, because it's a combination of market, 100%, but also cost of the development, valuation of the company, demonstrable, maybe it's not English, pipeline, expected growth. So it's a lot of things all together. The deeper you go in technology, the more risk averse you will find the investor. So it has been difficult for us, also because of the capital intensity of the market. We are not asking little to raise, and it's difficult to even milestone the development.
Paolo, if you had the magic stick, then what could be an instrument, a tool that will facilitate this?
I don't know, but one thing might help is, since we're talking about ESA BIC, and it would, in my opinion, because we are saying this, the need, it would be possibly support before capital is injected in what it was raised before for the readiness of the company. So support with the financial officer, support with legal advice. So practical thing which could be used on a fractional mode from each company of the incubator, and not be another incumbent problem that the company has to solve. And then last thing, because it just came to mind, is possibly the moment the incubation completes, so you eventually become an alumni, it would be great if there was an effort to put a tag on the value of the company at that particular moment in time. So that would help a lot to get, interest from the VCs, a sort of, low-level validation of the company, what it's worth. It would help discussion and maybe trigger faster, larger opportunities.
Very good idea to think about it. And Dimitris, your view on this?
Sorry, the question was why?
What is the biggest challenge for a founder to build a space startup?
Yes, I think the biggest challenge is actually to find customers, to have to enter the market, to build a very good go-to-market plan. And now, in order to achieve this, I think the help that we need from the ecosystem, from the European Space Agency, from the VCs, the connections, to bring us with potential customers and give them some, let's say, paying pilot testing in order to integrate our solution and check if it's viable for them. I think this is very important and it will help us.
Okay. A last round with one word or a maximum one sentence. We are starting the next phase of ESA BIC Greece, 4 years, 4 startups per year, 80,000 per company. What should be the ambition of the next period for ESA BIC Greece? We start Paolo, then Dimitris, and we finish with Nick.
Increase the pace, but also get first successes in venture, as well as industrial recognition for some of the previous alumni. I hope it's us.
Dimitris?
My ambition is to have all the resources to scale up startups rather than create them. We created them, now we need to scale them up.
Okay, thank you. Salvator?
I would say try to make them, 8 companies is good. Try to make them cooperate and work together. That's important. Space has a lot of need of capital. You cannot get capital if you don't have scale, if you don't have size.
With the support of ESA BIC Greece, we proved that we can have Greek space startups. For the next period, we need to prove that we can have Greek space scale-ups with international presence. So local presence is not sufficient. We need to think bigger and higher.
Thank you. And Nick?
After all these great answers, what can I add? I have the answers on both sides of me. The size of the market matters, and the satellites go all the way around. So I'm going to say exports. Let's start to think internationally. Let's start to think globally.
Thank you all. Thank you for staying with us. I think the message is clear. The first 5 years were quite successful, but we did a bigger ambition for the next 4 years, and the whole team, with the support of the ecosystem, will try to achieve that. Thank you very much all.